My next guest believes that if you start understanding your body's chemistry, you can actually stop dieting forever. I want you to welcome Dee McCaffrey to the show. Now, Dee, you're an organic chemist, right?
That's right.
All right, and you wrote this book called The Science of Skinny. What does that mean exactly?
The Science of Skinny basically is helping people to understand the science behind how particular foods affect their health and how they can affect their body's ability to gain or lose weight. And then it is a guide for people to help them to transition into eating healthier foods.
All right, now you're not just one of those scientists who wrote a book because you actually did this, right? You actually lost 100 pounds by doing this, and your motivation was to help other people.
Right. Well, and actually, I was working as a chemist while in college, and that was when I discovered that one of my favorite foods actually had a lot of chemicals in it, and they were chemicals that I was using in my work.
Oh, that's pretty scary.
Yeah, it was very scary. And that was really what led me into the field of understanding food and nutrition in the way that I do.
Okay, so body chemistry, you say, is very important. So what does that mean? Why should people pay attention to their body chemistry?
Because our body's chemistry is something that keeps us alive or leads us down the path of degeneration and disease. So when our body, basically it has to do with how acidic or alkaline our body chemistry is, and meaning our fluids in our body and in our cells. So when we eat a lot of foods that have a lot of chemicals in them, or preservatives or pesticides, our bodies become overloaded with acid, and then we get sick or we gain weight. And when we eat more natural foods that put our body into a more balanced body chemistry or clean body chemistry, then we lose weight much easier and we're more healthy.
Okay, so now your eating plan, though, so is not really a typical like low fat, low carb. It's more looking at like good food versus bad food.
Right, exactly. And I don't even count calories, because I tell people if you eat foods in their more natural form and if you just eat them in the right portions, you don't really have to pay that much attention to calories.
Right. It's about eating the right kinds of things. So now you break them up. We have a kind of example of the good and the bad, or I should say the bad and the good. So let's talk about the bad and what makes it bad. Because a lot of people might look at this and go, hey, come on, it's mini wheats.
Right,
it's
and
wheat.
Exactly, and that's one of the things that I educate people about. It's a whole grain cereal, which would make it seem like it's good, but if you read the ingredient list, which is a thing that I really encourage people to do, you will see that there are chemicals in there as well as the whole grains, and that can have a detrimental effect on your health. This one has artificial flavors in it, and it's strawberry, and if you read the book, you'll understand that artificial strawberry flavoring contains about 35 chemicals. All artificial, synthetic chemicals, and none of them are strawberries.
Right, to give you that smell. Better to put some real strawberries on your mini wheats. But so mini wheats by themselves would be better.
A whole grain cereal with strawberries would be wonderful.
Wonderful. Okay, another example, Lunchables. I'm not surprised.
Oh, yeah, and probably nobody would be that surprised, except if you read the ingredient list on this, there are 3 different components to the Lunchable, but there are over 60 ingredients contained in all of those little things. It looks just like crackers and cheese, but it's full of
really
chemicals.
Not. And something simple like angel food cake.
Yeah, and actually this was the food that I discovered the chemical in that I was working with in my lab, and it's used as an industrial degreaser. And in larger concentrations, it's used as a garage floor cleaner.
Nice.
And it shows up in the cake mix as well.
Okay, so on to some of the better foods here. So what are these kinds of things we're looking at? Because a lot of people might say, oh, this is obvious. It's whole foods.
And that's exactly what I'm trying to get people to eat. But they're in a convenient form. They're whole foods in a convenient form, which I think helps people to eat more healthfully. This is just dried fruit, and that is in a nice packaging. These are energy bars, and they're actually for children. They're designed for children. They're smaller. And then we have a larger size energy bar that is for, mainly for helping people with the snacks. When you get the munchies, these are something that can help fill that gap.
Right.
And then we have things like a whole grain cracker that really has no additives in it. It's all made from all just whole grain, dairy butter, and yeast.
Right,
so
the basic kind of stuff that if you were to make it in your kitchen, if there's a chemical on there and you don't have it in your kitchen, it's not something you want to be eating.
Yeah, and if you can't pronounce it, that's what
don't eat it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, so I want to touch real quickly on sweeteners.
I encourage people to use natural sweeteners, things like raw honey, pure maple syrup, not artificially flavored pancake syrup, and a no-calorie sweetener called stevia, which is an herbal sweetener that has no effect on blood sugar levels.
Straight ahead.